Oh, hi, my name's Dr. Sam Irving. I have a particular interest in brain plasticity. So that's the changes that occur in the brain depending on typically upon experience. Um, Now, traditionally we thought that the brain was only plastic in youth. So when people were young, actually we now know that the brain is plastic, so capable of changing all the way up into adulthood. So obviously, Mark is going to be undergoing a considerable change in his regular input, sensory input over the course of his time in during his experience. Um, and I find it quite, I would find it surprising if this didn't actually cause some kind of changes to the way that his brain is actually wired over the course of that time. For example, he's going to be looking at a screen for, well, two screens, I assume, over the course of the period instead of actually reality. So he actually won't need to do some things like actually turning his head to experience what's going on to his side will actually not change his field of view whatsoever. So head movements will actually become irrelevant for him during this period of time, and that may I'm not saying that it will, but it's possible that that will actually cause a part of the brain that's involved in integrating what he's seeing with head movements to realize that something's amiss and actually to adapt to this change. Um, One of the other things that is obviously going to be a large change is social input and physical sensory input. Now, I know that there's the video at the beginning of the project suggests that we experience things through sound and sight, but actually we experience things through all of our senses, including proprioception, so our actual sense of our body and what our body is doing, as well as obviously touch and other things like that. So um, although um, although Mark will be seeing what his input, if you like, will be seeing, he won't necessarily be experiencing actually the same things because he will be in a room and not out in the real world, and he won't be feeling the rain on him. And all of these things will actually change the sensory input that he's receiving. So it will be interesting to see how this there'll be a dichotomy, if you like, between his actual experience and um, and what his input is seeing. So he'll obviously be in a state of social isolation, which is another thing that can actually cause brain plasticity. Now, I know there's been some research published in Nature that's suggested in using mice, which are sociable animals, that actually if you remove mice and leave them um, socially isolated for periods of 8 weeks, um, they actually stop creating melanin, which is the sheath that coats over the neurons, particularly in the prefrontal cortex. And this is the area that's involved in the self, so personality, and what makes you you. So there are actually some disorders um, that actually come about through a lack of myelin, such as multiple sclerosis, and it's also been linked to depression, things like that. And so we obviously hope that that's not going to happen to Mark, but these are all things that can actually change in the brain based on altered input to the body. So I wish him luck, and I'll be very interested to see what the output, the outcomes of the experiment are. So yeah, good luck, Mark.